Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden is 100% definitely going to get impeached. It'll be 2022 when Republicans take the House. But he will get impeached. And I think that very likely he'll resign eventually. He will definitely get impeached. We just have to wait until Trump Republicans primary, never Trumpers, out of Congress, which will happen. And hopefully the Senate goes Republican. I'm not saying this because I'm a Republican or I love the Republican Party. I like people like Rand Paul, people like Devin Nunes, people like President Trump, who negotiated the Doha Agreement and reversed 20 years of U.S. foreign policy that was implemented or pushed by Joe Biden, who voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, the Lincoln Project people, and Bernie Sanders and AOC vote for the same political party. We'll get to all of that in a second. I want people who oppose never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I also want people who abide by international peace deals. Had we abided by Trump's peace deal, none of these catastrophes would have taken place. There's a possibility the Afghan government wouldn't have fallen as fast as it did, and Biden lied through his teeth to the President Ghani of Afghanistan. We'll get to that in a moment. But hit subscribe to this channel right now. We go back and forth. We're over 184,000, then we're not over 184,000, but let's get to 200,000 subs, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very important segment. Hit subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends about this channel. And if you want to support my voice long term, the super chat on this live stream and every live stream is extremely important. I can't do these live streams without your help in the super chat. And also, if you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. If you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications, go to hagoodman.com. You can see my debates there. And if you like it on the upload, the super thanks is right next to the like and the share button. I have my new opinion piece in The Jerusalem Post. That'll be below in the pinned comment. Ladies and gentlemen, Biden will be impeached. So that's going to happen. Biden is going to be impeached. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. That will definitely take place. Will he resign? I don't know. I don't doubt. I do not doubt that Biden will resign. Okay? I think that the entire planet knows he's out to lunch and nobody's home. I think the entire planet knows that. The entire planet knows that he's out to lunch and nobody's home. The intel community that he reveres basically stated the opposite of what he told the president of Afghanistan. By the way, really quickly, sometimes I look at the messages prior to the live stream, and I want to thank a wonderful viewer, Ross Lambda. Thank you so very much. I read you've been a sub since 2015, and that's when I first started. You've literally been here. Literally been here since day one. So Ross Lambda, thank you so very, very much for just being, here since day one. It's greatly appreciated, and I thank you. Is he going to be impeached and then resign? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to resign before 2022 or, if he's going to, before 2024, give it to Kamala Harris. I have no clue. This is public relations. He speaks when he's told to speak. So before we get to the catastrophe and the lies that he told and the fact that his own intelligence agencies refuted his statement, they said that they warned him of the impending collapse. He told Ashraf Ghani, focus on perception, because, perception is really important, because that's how public relations, like, for example, the law in Texas does not mean, like, you can look at Planned Parenthood in Texas, Okay? Or sorry, Planned Parenthood, the Texas laws pertaining to a certain procedure. If this law is in effect, can I still get the certain procedure? Yes. Yes. It says yes. It's just within 6 weeks. So they lie all the time. And then Major League Baseball moves from Georgia to Colorado because of, like you can have all of these corporations move. The reasoning, like for these voting laws that allow people to vote, they don't prevent anyone from voting. They don't violate the 1965 Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court in both, like the Supreme Court now with this Texas law and with the voting laws, upheld the state's ability to enact this legislation. Why? Because they don't break they're not unconstitutional. It's the Supreme Court's job to decide what is constitutional and what isn't. And so with the hysteria now, they're saying, "Oh, vote Democrat, because we're going to save these things." You can still get the medical procedure. Then they say, "Oh, well, if a human being experiences the worst possible atrocity, and then they want to get the medical procedure, they can't." No, that's not true. They still can. They're lying. They lie all the time. They're lying all the time. All they do is lie because they can't tell the truth, because the truth undermines their hysteria and their mania and their apoplectic, just completely irrational reaction. They have to lie. They have to accuse others of lying because they lie. They're the ones who cheated Bernie Sanders, then blamed Russia for cheating them, or Trump for working with Russia. They're the ones that continually spin and give this misinformation and then claim that misinformation is costing people's lives, when stifling debate and discussion is what's harming society. But again, they can't, whether it's impeachment or resignation or a health topic or a foreign policy topic or November or any issue, any subject that they can't defend, that they fear the opposition might gain traction in terms of their argument. So they say that Republican arguments or far left arguments or anybody who opposes our viewpoint is either engaging in misinformation or compelling people to do bad things. They can't prove that in a court of law, but what they've done is they have silenced voices, suppressed dialogue and speech and thought, and they've done so through economic means. That's why they're so proud of the All-Star game moving from Georgia to Colorado. And then you have Terry McAuliffe saying every major corporation should leave Texas and go to Virginia. The opposite is true. Corporations are leaving California. Billions of dollars worth of revenue is leaving California and going to Texas. Leaving New Yorkers went to Florida. People are leaving blue states, and then they're taking their horrible politics with them. Why? To the Democrats in Texas who came from California or other places, why did you go to Texas? Why didn't you just live in the blue state where you love the blue? If you are a Democrat, live in a Democratic state. Don't say, oh my God, I'm a Democrat and I'm going to turn Texas blue, but you love the opportunities that you have in a Republican state. You left a dysfunctional blue state with the highest unemployment rates and the worst statistics when it came to a whole bunch of things, and crime and homelessness and a whole bunch of things. It's just it's kind of interesting today. There's all this talk about teachers who are advocates or activists and they talk about starting the revolution and all that stuff, and it's like there's communists out there and socialists, and you can emigrate to Cuba. So like the Cuban Americans and people who have left communist countries, they know that communism is the worst possible system. Socialism and communism and state control of the economy and of life and of liberties is the worst possible thing you can have. That is tyranny. That is completely immoral, and they have the highest poverty rates as well, which is the basis of communism. The reason that people are socialists or communists is they say, well, I'm moral. I don't like capitalism. I want people to be equal. Well, they're all equally poor in communist countries. And even socialist countries they point to are quick to say, no, we're capitalist. We just spend more on healthcare. But you have these far left, and I say this with all due respect, and it's not out of malice. If you truly believe communism is great, and you don't think capitalism works, you can go and what is it called? There's a visa you can get to emigrate to Cuba. You can become a permanent resident. Okay? There's a certain type of visa you can get. How do I become a permanent resident in Cuba? And there's a whole bunch of sites here that, I was on this one site, talked about a special type of visa that you just have to renew in Cuba, and you can live there. So why aren't these people moving to Cuba? Why aren't they moving to Cuba? Why not? Why not? That's a good question to ask. That's a good question to ask. You have these people who are always complaining, always hysterical, always like they're always talking about how capitalism and communism and Trump, capitalism and Republicans and Trump, and they're so immoral, and you know what, we can learn a lot from this country and that country. Okay, well, if you're a true communist and you're like the furthest left you could possibly imagine, but you always vote Democrat, interestingly enough, why don't you just move to a place you consider utopia, or a place that you consider more just? Because that's the outcome of your ideology. The outcome, the consequence, the result of far left ideology is Cuba. But getting back to Biden and impeachment, when I say that Biden's going to be impeached, he'll be impeached. It's just a matter of the House of Representatives becoming Republican. Once the House of Representatives goes Republican, they're going to look at the phone call. They're going to look at the phone call with Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, and they're going to say, okay, you lied numerous times. Okay, so you can go, you can look at the transcript or the information that we have already. He wanted Ghani to change perception. Okay, he wanted Ghani to focus, to try to convince the world that the reality was different, that the reality of things breaking down wasn't the case. And so he said, quote, "You clearly have the best military. You have 300,000 well-armed forces versus 70 to 80,000, and they're capable of fighting well." Days later, the Afghan military started folding across provincial capitals in the country with little fight against, we'll call them the Taliban. Okay, so he lied about that. His intelligence community told him that wasn't the case. Then he said, well, no, they didn't tell me. So who's lying? Are we going to get a whistleblower in the intelligence community or in the Department of Defense to come out and say, well, Biden had his own agenda, just like two government officials resigning for Biden pushing his agenda before things were done accurately or responsibly. We have Americans still, we have an unknown number of Americans still in Afghanistan. It's an unknown number. Do you know that? Can any Democrat state with certainty how many Americans are in Afghanistan? No. They can't state with certainty. They don't know how many Afghans. They don't know how many Americans. They know nothing. If you ask anybody in Biden's administration, Cali boy, if 46 had an R next to his name, he'd be gone. Oh, absolutely. Cali boy, thank you. He absolutely. Oh my God, if it was Trump or an R. But if it was Trump, oh my God, every single day. And rightfully so. If it was Trump, what would take place is every single day, they would say, okay, how many Americans left behind enemy lines? How many people are never going to see their family again? How much weaponry was left in the hands of the Taliban? You have service animals, okay? You have rescue dogs left. I don't know why, T-Boy, Cali Boy, thank you. I don't know why. How on earth, Cali Boy, thank you again, as always, thank you. How on earth do you leave? Okay, so, of course, there's a fact check. The Department of Defense maintains, this is typical Biden administration. Factcheck.org. Fact check. Dun, fact check. Did we leave animals behind? Fact check. Did the U.S. abandon its military dogs during its withdrawal from Afghanistan? The Department of Defense maintains that none of its military service dogs were left behind, but animal welfare groups say some contract working dogs, which did not belong to the U.S., though some may have been contracted by the military, were left at the Kabul airport. And so you still have rescue dogs left behind, okay? They would never stop. Even Mitt Romney, of all people, would be like, that's horrible, after he put his dog on top of his car. Cali Boy, thank you again. To my super chat, thank you. There was one woman who had 130. Let's see. The other day, a U.S. woman left behind in Kabul with 130 rescue dogs. Thanks to DOD no-fly animal policy. Okay? You have 130 rescue dogs that could help, 130 people, families in the U.S. A Tennessee woman who owns an animal rescue center in Kabul was not allowed passage home by the Department of Defense because she carried a disabled puppy in her arms. Could you imagine the outrage from all these wonderful Democrats and beautiful, wonderful, God bless them, beautiful, amazing liberals? Oh my God. Trump, he wouldn't let a disabled puppy home. But no, it's no problem. I said, come on, man, we don't need that puppy home, man. Come on, man. Here's my cornflakes had a puppy. Cornflakes. One of 130 animals she was ordered to leave behind in the final days of the airlifts. Charlotte Maxwell Jones refused to board the plane without her puppy on Monday, so the military ordered her to leave and turn loose 130 crated dogs that mostly belonged to Americans and Afghans who evacuated. Oh my God. She left the airport after being stuck there for 6 days and returned home to an uncertain fate. Oh my God. Oh my God. This woman is an amazing woman. This woman is an amazing woman. In addition to the interpreter that Biden left behind who saved him. Do you understand anything good you do for them? It will come back. Anything good you do. And Democrats get a whiff of it or a scent of it. What? You did something good? Your life will suffer. That's how they work. No good deed goes unpunished. Do you understand? That's why they're all like, whether it's like if they prop you up, whether it's Michael Avenatti or Andrew Cuomo with his Emmy or Eric Schneiderman, the former Attorney General of New York, or anybody that is within the. They say that, oh, well, within Trump's sphere. It's like, no, they were desperately trying to go after anyone associated with Trump because they've utilized the government against Trump. But this is unbelievable. So he leaves behind 130 rescue dogs because the DOD has a no-fly animal policy. But of course, God forbid, the people there can't just make an exception. But of course, if it's Hunter, the artiste, it's a big exception. Always an exception for the artiste, the Salvador Dali of privileged kids of politicians. This is unbelievable. A Tennessee woman who owns an animal rescue center in Kabul was not allowed passage home by the Department of Defense because she carried a disabled puppy in her arms. If it was Trump, it would be on a picture of like Time magazine with the puppy and Trump trying to stomp on it. And then you'd hear, "Is this the America you want?" Sappy, syrupy regurgitation of nonsense. Always from the wonderful independent media. Well, very good, very good. Everything's fine. Nothing a problem. Hey, media, good. One of 130 animals she was ordered to leave behind in the final days of the airlift. Charlotte Maxwell Jones. This woman, God bless her, hopefully can just, I hope she comes home safe. And hopefully she comes home with the animals, the 130 animals. I mean, my God. I'm not this huge animal advocate, but my God, I mean that's principle right there. You're gonna risk life under the T-ban as a woman. You're gonna risk everything. Ramla, hello. Ramla, hope all is well. My God Almighty, God bless this woman. God bless this woman. This woman is an amazing woman, okay? And she decided not to leave. Do you understand if it was Biden? He'd be like, "Hey, puppy. Peace out, puppy. Peace out, puppy. I'm out of here, puppy. 130 dogs. It was nice knowing you. Yeah, leave it to Beaver. Shane. What was the other? What are the other dogs? What was that? George Rivera Jr. Big government is a bastion of incompetence, arrogance. Yes, psychopaths. We when unchecked, we get what we have today, which some simply define as evil. It is that. It is that word. It is that word. George, it is that word. George Rivera Jr., thank you as always. It is exactly that. It is exactly that. It is exactly that. That's exactly what's taking place. That's exactly what's taking place, George. I don't use that word much because I don't know. But it is evil. I mean, you're going to leave 130. Look, you already left the interpreter who saved you. You think Biden could make his way out of a snowstorm? He can't even. The man very likely can't make his way out of a room. You think he's going to make his way out of a snowstorm? Okay? And Kerry also. I think it was Kerry and another senator. These Democrats, it's like, The Republicans aren't pure as the driven snow either. But nobody utilizes the suffering of others in this syrupy, sappy, nauseating manner. If you don't vote, if you vote for Trump, everything bad happens. That happens it's under your watch, your hands, your guilt. What happened to the 130 rescue animals and the woman, Charlotte Maxwell Jones? God bless you. God bless this woman. My God. Who refused to board a plane out of a nightmare. She's a woman living under, we'll call them the T-band. And then there's IS. Then there's ISK. Then there's AQ. And then who knows how many other organizations. Biden, if he had the choice, he'd be like, peace, I'm out. Nice knowing you. Hey, come on, man, old yeller. I'm out of here. Luke and Eric, hello. George, you're right. Here's him. Come on, man. And Turner and Hooch, come on, man. I'm out of here. Could you imagine, is there anything that, how many Democratic politicians, you think AOC would stay for the 130 animals? I don't think so. And honestly, I wouldn't blame her. I wouldn't blame anybody who left and because, you have to, save your life. But this woman is a saint. She's like an angel, this woman. Okay? Exactly the type of person the Democrats want to harm. Charlotte Maxwell Jones refused to board the plane without her puppy on Monday. I mean, even if, what's going to happen to you if you just let her on with the puppy? She might have gone on, at least with the puppy. So the military ordered her to leave and turn loose 130 crated dogs that mostly belong to Americans and Afghans who evacuated. Unbelievable. Oh my God. The T-Band visited Maxwell Jones at her home last week and ordered her to leave with her employees, she said in a tearful video. Oh my God. She has a GoFundMe for the animal evacuation. Oh my God. Destiny Star. 5 minutes ago, a fairly large group of T-Band left my lawn. One of them had oh my God. They told me I should leave immediately and tried to put guards inside the house. We settled on outside my house. They have said they will give us safe passage to the airport for as large a group that we have. They told me to leave first. It's very obvious what will happen. Oh my God. Let's see. Hopefully this woman has left. Let me go ahead and. It's unbelievable. But don't you understand? If you are like a saint, like this woman is like a saint, that's exactly the type of person. That's exactly the type of person that Democrats will either ignore or try to disparage in some manner. Or try to blame. I mean, they've redefined everything from accusations. Well, what? This is credibly accused. No, Biden wasn't credibly accused. Well, Kavanaugh was credibly accused. No, Kavanaugh was credibly accused. Well, credible is subjective, you imbecile. These vapid semantic games are so vapid, and they're just, easily. You can decipher them easily as just these absurd, irrational games. If you have any grasp of basic logic, you can see how irrational the thought process is. Okay? George Rivera Jr., thank you. It's unbelievable that you have all of these stories of heart-wrenching stories. And it's off to the next outrage. Texas. Texas, you can still get the medical procedure. It's within 6 weeks. So don't use these absurd, scenarios. Because God forbid you would know in that scenario. God forbid. So why are you bringing up these scenarios? Oh, yeah. You know what? Oh, you didn't pack the courts, did you? You didn't end the filibuster, did you? You didn't do everything you said you were going to do, from Medicare for all to a Green New Deal, because the world's going to end. They are a bunch of phonies who have taken the place of religion. They've taken the place of God. Because a lot of these people, like, you have these far left, which is fine. If you're an atheist or agnostic, fine, great. But don't replace politics with religion. You're picking... Trump is not right about everything. Okay? I like Trump a lot. I agree with him on a lot of things. Some things he's not right about. I like Rand Paul. Some things he's not right about. I like Devin Nunes. Okay? I like, politicians that actually do speak truth to power. Okay? So you have the intelligence community, the Lincoln Project, all of Hollywood, every producer that probably has a criminal history that'll never be told in a court of law. And these people were against Trump. Meanwhile, Trump, his biggest sin in life is being mean on social media. And then they say, oh, look at what he did here. President Obama's administration was worse on every topic. Give me a topic. I can tell you, based on liberal value system, where President Obama was worse than Trump. Worse than every topic. Immigration, every topic. Every topic. Foreign policy. What has taken place is public relations has overshadowed everything else, which is why he told, if you look at he can be impeached easily on lying to the Afghan president. You need to focus on perception. You know, the perception is that things are going bad. Yeah, because everyone can see what's going on. Biden, by the way, doesn't even mean any of the stuff that he says. Okay, so we're not even getting to the evictions, massive, eviction crisis we're going to face. Todd Rubel! Popcorn was on illegal. Cornflakes was on the leak call, yes. George Rivera. Thank you, George. Thank you. Todd Rubel. I think Popcorn was there, Cornflakes. It's not just that. He talked about my legs, and I put lotion on my legs. Hey, young ones, come here, young ones. I put lotion on my legs. I'm the most popular candidate of all time. Hey, come on now. Hey, sorry about that, old yeller. Sorry about that. What's the other book that? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to wait. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Now, the rules are rules, except for my son. Then, if Hunter wants to go ahead and become a video producer, well, you know. It's like, it's really unbelievable. It's unbelievable the level of ignorance on the left. If they can be ignorant, ignorance is bliss. On the left, ignorance is bliss. If they don't know about something, then it actually never happened. So if they don't know that 130 service animals, like, these are people who, if Mitt Romney had put his dog on top of Mittens Romney, oh, Mittens Romney, good Republican. Don't you love the conservatives who just always, it's interesting, they side with Biden or Democrats. They don't like Trump's personality, but they're okay with Mitt Romney. good Republican. I coif my hair, good in a nice, wholesome way. And I'm not on social media being mean except if I use my fake profile Pierre Delicto. Then maybe I might be a little saucy. Other than that, I'm a good Republican who wouldn't have brought home Americans, well, who wouldn't have signed the Doha Agreement so that Biden could mess everything up. And you have this, you know what, this is like, we live in a world where we have access to information at our fingertips. We have access to information at our fingertips 24/7. 24/7. And it is pretty unbelievable. It is pretty unbelievable that Democrats have, been able to suppress dialogue and to able to silence any dissent. Ed, world leaders are now calling Trump. Exactly. Well, this is the thing. Trump was competent. He was so competent, Ed, and everybody here. He was so competent that he was so competent that there had to be a resistance. So they always contradict themselves. So what they say is, Trump is a buffoon. Then they say, we have to have a resistance to oppose Trump. Well, which one is it? Is he competent? Is he so effective as a leader that you need to resist everything he does? Or is he just this incompetent imbecile? Obviously, he was very competent. Biden is inept. Even you would think he has every single possible advantage. He had all of media propping him up. All of media propping him up. And he has squandered all of that. He squandered all of that because even media has had enough. Even media has had enough. They can't stand the man. They know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And look, he had a phone conversation where he wasn't pressuring somebody to investigate a corrupt politician. Biden is a corrupt politician. He's very much a corrupt. That's why you had Twitter suspend the New York Post. If they don't have social media algorithms, and if they can't intimidate people economically, their ideas crumble within an instant. If they can't utilize and exert economic pressure, Democrats, liberals, far left, their ideas can't stand any scrutiny at all. That's why you don't see AOC debating anybody. That's why you don't see Bernie Sanders debating anybody. That's why you don't see Bernie Sanders leaving the Democratic Party. Because it's a gigantic racket, but it's a racket this is an artificial, what they'll do is they'll have 3 weeks straight or 3 months straight of negative news coverage on Trump. And then they'll say a new ABC poll says 57% of Americans agree with Democrats on Trump. Well, you've had 3 months of never-ending negative media coverage, obsessing over something Trump said. And then they say, 43% of Americans still approve of Biden. I did a segment, actually, But then I just removed it because like nobody was watching, and I was like, you know what, this is. But I might just upload it again because nobody got notified, and like it was stuck like deep within the YouTube algorithm, which usually doesn't happen at all. But independents at this point had a higher approval of Trump than of Biden. And if Trump at this time in 2017, they were saying that he said both sides were fine people, and he called the 1930s and 1940s Germans fine people. No, he didn't. He never did. He never did. And within the transcript of his speech, by the way, he signed a multi-billion-dollar deal to ensure health care for veterans on that weekend. But this time last year, they were saying he was saying, oh yeah, Trump, and you know he emboldened these bad people. No, he didn't. So you have the sensibilities of apoplectic activists who are called journalists nowadays, and now you have Biden, who presided over one of the greatest foreign policy disasters in American history. That's not hyperbole. That is not hyperbole. Okay, that is not hyperbole. That is the truth. Ed, thank you. That is not hyperbole at all. David, thank you. Biden presided over one of the worst foreign policy debacles. One of the worst foreign policy debacles of all time. He took an agreement, and then he deliberately put his own twist on it. We were supposed to leave May 1st. We were supposed to leave May 1st. We did not leave May 1st. We started the evacuation process after May 1st. We were supposed to start before May 1st. In fact, we were supposed to go and start in January, February, March, April. And under Trump, if the Afghan government had fallen, he probably would have done something about the 13 million rounds of ammunition of 7.62. And that's not even the 5.5. We're not even talking about the 5.56. We're not even talking about Black Hawk helicopters and Humvees and night vision goggles and armor, body armor, armored vehicles, aircraft. You have given the Taliban and others billions of dollars worth of weaponry. That was not part of the Doha Agreement. And so why did he do all of this? To spite Trump. How does this benefit our country? The point was to bring home Americans. And so he says, well, nothing would have changed. No. The manner in which Biden left, that's the reason. And in the haphazard, the completely irresponsible, rushed manner in which he left, okay? I mean, you could look at the interpreter who saved Biden's life. Psaki insists U.S. will evacuate abandoned Afghan interpreter who rescued Biden. Well, you know what? As long as she insists, that's fine. I actually was worried about the man because he's still there. He's still there. And gee, you think maybe he was on, God forbid, a list given to the Taliban? You think they kept hold of the list of Americans and Afghans, or maybe IS took it, or maybe AQ took it? Or maybe they had a photocopy machine? Because I think, considering we left helicopters and everything else, we might have left a photocopy machine. Or somebody inputted it into a computer. So this is just out today, or Yesterday, Jen Psaki insists U.S. will evacuate abandoned Afghan interpreter who rescued Biden at 2008 Black Hawk emergency landing and thanks him for helping a number of my favorite people out of a snowstorm. You know that's the way Biden. Hey man, thanks for helping all my friends, man. Oh, you're still there? Oh, wait, come on, man. We notified you, man. I don't want to hear about it. He's still there. Mashed potato brains. Mashed potato brains and his merry band of imbeciles. Have you seen Blinken in a press conference? You're talking about deer in the headlights. Antony Blinken looks like, and this is no offense to, like, any, like, you know, he looks like a person who lived on the streets and that they found, gave a haircut, shower, and a new suit. And then he's speaking, like, as if, like, you know, he owes somebody like $2 million in gambling debt. This man does not look like a Secretary of State. Go look at Antony Blinken. Bumbling Blinken. These are the most polished, don't you understand? These are the most educated and polished. These are the most educated and polished. This is the best. These are the adults in the room. Don't you know? Don't you know these are the adults in the room? Tree climber, thank you. God bless you. It's like, so the White House press secretary was asked about the interpreter who only goes by his first name for safety reasons. She promised him, we will get you out, but didn't say how he'd be rescued. Oh my God. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you're not leaving an angel and a saint of a woman who stands by her 130 rescue animals, had a disabled puppy, wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Oh my God. But then you'll get like fact check, dun 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 dun, fact check. Hunter Biden wasn't dishonorably discharged. It was an administrative discharge. Really? Wait, what are the chances that maybe his dad had something to do with it? Oh my God. Again, it's the T-band of mosquitoes. They're after me. Oh my God! It's just circling me like a great white. You know those like mosquito? It's not like the big gigantic crane things that aren't mosquitoes. No, this is like a little mosquito with the legs just flopping. You know that one? The little tiny one, the legs flopping. And look at my flopping legs. I'm about to eat you up. Do a preemptive Lysol. Yeah. Let's leave this here. Well, that's good. I was actually worried for a second. I thought that he wasn't going to come out because, you know, the war had ended and, you know, that's what Biden was saying. But Jen Psaki said he'll come out, so that's fine. Ring in constitutional. Impeach. They will. They will impeach him. That's what I'm saying. Like, ladies and gentlemen, this has to be the most important thing for the Republican Party. Okay? This has to be the most important thing for the Republican Party. Okay, you can't go ahead and like you can't have Mitch McConnell say, we can't focus on impeachment. We can't focus on impeachment because they have let me give you a little lesson on the Constitution. It happens to be that you can't impeach somebody in the House of Representatives when you don't have a majority. And so Nancy Pelosi is leaving. And when we get the House back, then we'll talk about it. That's not what should be, okay? That's not what should be. That's not what should happen. You can't simply Sorry, I had to drink. Sorry, my God. It's not the worst sound in the world. That's not how things work in politics. This is why if you listen to like a conservative Republican, you'd fall asleep. This is why if you had Mitt Romney again versus versus Biden, I would actually enjoy. I can I thank you for all the kind words. I know that when I speak, the ladies have a certain sensation at basically I'm a ladies' man, and the ladies in Kentucky, they love the turtle. They love Mitch McConnell. I was voted senior prom captain for the class of 1927. And my prom date was voted prom queen. And I'll leave it at that because the steaming heat of my romantic voice is just too much for some people. What am I looking at right now? Oh, my God. That's one of Hunter Biden's home videos. Yes. That's a fantastic. I tell you what, he's a good director, if you know what I mean, my God. Artiste. Anyway, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to, if you like, you get these Republicans or these conservatives, and you get these liberals and the Democrats, they're like, I just wish we had a good Republican. I wish we had a Republican that, Roger Rabbit, hello. I wish we had a Republican that would be presentable. You know, not somebody like Trump and his base. Trump's base is the Republican Party, you imbecile. And his base of voters, all 74 million of them. His base of voters, yeah. His base is a lot wider of a base than Mitt Romney's. Are you kidding me? Romney got 60 million votes. And, like, he actually had positive media coverage compared to Trump. Okay? He was a good Republican, and Paul Ryan he worked out. Don't you remember Paul Ryan's workout photos? This was before social media turned, like, this country into the Matrix. Social media is the worst, the absolute worst, because you could then hide behind image and emotion. So that's what they're doing with Texas. They're doing that with Texas. They're doing that with the voting laws. They're doing that with everything. You don't even have to be accurate. You can just hide behind emotion. That's how Democrats roll. They hide behind emotion. You think they're going to talk about the 130 service animals? No. Hey, sorry about that, old yeller. Come on now. Ringing constitutional. This is the second one, I think. The other one was censored. No, thank you. Thank you, Ringing. No, it worked. CD, hello. Ringing constitutional. Thank you as always. Thank you as always. Ringing constitutional. But they Jen Psaki insists that abandoned Afghan interpreter who rescued Biden in 2008 emergency landing and thanks him for helping a number of my favorite people. This is the way Biden speaks too. You know that's the way. Hey, man, come on, man. Thank you, favorite people. You rescued me and my favorite friends. Oh, is your favorite friends. Sorry about Old Yeller and Turner and Hooch. 130 service animals. We'll get them out when the Messiah comes. But thanks, man. Hey, thanks, man. I'm stuck here. Please, God bless this man. God bless him. God bless everyone who's been harmed by the Democratic Party. God bless him. So many people. So many people. Psychologically, you could say myself included, but not really. Because I actually was, when I was on the left, I was like, what's happening? Why is everybody writing? Why are they writing hit pieces? Oh! And then it dawned upon me, you shouldn't care what they think because they're all rabid, children of the corn, brainwashed tools. That's why you shouldn't care what they think. And then it was like this relief. Oh my God. And then I said, yeah, I'm leaving this completely. And then I became a supporter of President Trump, which was like a fantastic feeling. Because then what happened was all the people who were like, you're a Trumper. And I was like, well, I'm not. I mean, he's not that bad. And then I was thinking, wait, we have record low unemployment. And you know what? He signed the Doha Agreement, okay? And Biden messed it up, but that's why I voted for Trump. That's one of the main reason was foreign policy. In addition, we had great things under Trump, like a lot of great things, but you can't get it into the minds. It's impossible to get it into the minds of morally superior Democrats. Go to any of their Twitter profiles right now. I don't have Twitter. If you see anyone on Twitter impersonating me, notify Twitter. Take screenshots. But anyway. It's go on their Twitter accounts or the YouTube channels. You will not find anything on Afghanistan. Why? Because they're embarrassed. Ring and thank you, Christian O'Brien. I can actually envision Paul Ryan all buffed out, pushing an old lady. Oh my God! And the old lady is Mitch McConnell. Oh my God! Yeah. You know what? It's like Christian O'Brien, thank you. It's like Christian O'Brien. The one thing that, the Republicans, what they have is they have an emphasis on image also, but it's like the Trump Republicans, they get bad press, but at least they peacefully fight back. At least they peacefully can generate enthusiasm. Okay? It's interesting. Democrats focus on January, but they completely ignore the 13 Americans lost. They completely ignore the close to 200 Afghans who lost their lives. Democrats completely ignore now the fact we still have Americans. We have one woman, a saint, with 130 rescue animals. We had one man, a saint, who saved Biden's life. I'm telling you, no good deed goes unpunished. I'm telling you. And then, all the other types of activity, the selling your soul to the Democratic Party, they've all Juicy Smoliered themselves. From Peter Strzok, the lovely Lisa Page, to Michael Avenatti. I mean, to every there's a long list. Andrew Cuomo, they gave this man an Emmy. That should have been a sign that he was about to go. The Emmy alone. They gave him an Emmy for this was while he was putting infected people into nursing homes. Okay? You should never listen to Hollywood celebrities about anything to do with morality. Nothing. Hollywood is the bastion, the epicenter of immorality. And I'm focusing primarily on manipulation and like twisting and manipulating words, betraying people, betrayal. It's like the epicenter of betrayal and immorality and narcissism. And look at the people, like Trump is not like this innocent lamb. Yeah, he has bite. Yeah. Biden doesn't have any bite. He barely has any charm left. The only thing good about him was that he was like an amiable, lifelong politician. That's why he was vice president. Christian O'Brien, thank you again, as always. But, I mean, you look right now, it's all about public relations. So the White House press secretary asked about the interpreter she promised him we will get him out, but didn't say how he'd be rescued. Why wasn't he rescued along with everyone else? Why was it? And then they say, then Biden, who lied like endlessly the past couple of weeks, said, oh, well, we notified everybody 19 times. How do you know that you notified hundreds of thousands of people 19 times? Through email? I don't know. Was the Wi-Fi connection good in Kabul? You think they had good Wi-Fi? You think they're playing video games? You think they can, access email easily? I don't know. What did you do? What did Biden do? Send one of those, like, singing telegrams? Hey, you gotta leave, or else your head will be removed from your body. Go now. Paid for by Biden's administration. How did he notify people, like, through the mail? Do you think the Postal Service is good at this time? Do you think, the T-Band would, like, give, here's a FedEx, here's your Amazon package, and by the way, your life has ended. I don't think this is like, how did you notify people 19 times? Everything is public relations, my God, everything. Christian O'Brien, face it, Andy deserved the Emmy. Christian, that was good. Christian O'Brien, you're not taking my Emmy. And by the way, that's another. These people are fantastic with animals. He left his dog at the mansion. His dog Captain. He left Captain in the mansion. Hey, Captain. Here's looking at you, kid. Hey, Captain. I'm going to leave now. I'm taking my Emmy. You can do anything you want to me, but you're not taking my Emmy. I worked hard for this Emmy by ensuring we had the worst statistics ever. I couldn't give you the numbers because, well, the numbers took a vacation. They asked him, what happened to the numbers? How can we give you the numbers when we give other people the numbers? Well, this is kind of theoretical. These numerals exist, always in the mind and, on paper. So you can actually give the statistics to the government. No, the numbers, we don't have all of them. They left. They left those numbers. Christian O'Brien, yes. George Rivera Jr. Mitch doesn't get it. Trump impeachment were pure. Exactly. No one would have been more surprised than the speaker had any of them had gone through. Exactly. Exactly. They were completely political. Exactly. George Rivera Jr. Exactly. But he doesn't get it. He thinks like, I don't know. He thinks that he's the, rational person. I don't know. George Rivera Jr., thank you. He thinks he's the most rational. He's like, somebody has to be the adult here. It's just horrible. George Rivera Jr., thank you as always. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Teresa King! H.A. I'm from Kentucky. Gobbler will be voted out next time around. You know what? We need to get Trump Republicans everywhere. Okay, but not with any social media baggage. That's my problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene. No social media baggage, and try not to say anything completely absurd that will give them fuel. Teresa King, thank you. JSpot51. I have. JSpot, thank you. Thank you. Teresa King, George Rivera Jr., Christian O'Brien, thank you so very, very much. If you look at, it's all public relations. It's all public relations. They only care about public relations. That's why they're like, well, what about the interpreter that saved the president? I mean, you know that adage, no good deed goes unpunished. Wouldn't you want to save him? Yeah, we're working on that, and so we don't know how it's going to be done, but it'll be done. Okay. Okay. Next question. But he's still there. Next question. Thank you. Did I not just say, oh, God bless. Hello, Mr. President, save me and my family. Don't forget me here. My God almighty. This is the Wall Street Journal. I mean, you can't make, this is a complete betrayal. Like, the one thing you could say about Trump is that he's loyal. That's what he's loyal to Manafort. It's like, who cares? This is more important than Manafort buying an ostrich suit. This is like the fever dreams. He bought an ostrich jacket. Oh my God. Oh, our country. Oh, the democracy. Oh, the Constitution. Oh, by the way, you left hundreds of Americans, thousands of Afghans, over 130 rescue animals, and a woman who's a saint who won't leave them. And you left a man who's a hero who saved the president in 2008. But then you get, we will get you out. We don't know how, but we will. Fantastic. Fantastic. And it's like you have a situation where this is all public relations, media. That's why the perception, for people who were telling the Afghan president about perception, okay? For people who were telling the Afghan president about perception, it's very interesting that the perception of Biden's administration is deep, like down within, like has gone down the tubes, been flushed down the toilet. We all knew that, you can't really slur your speech and act in this doddering, foolish manner and be competent. We knew that, okay? We knew that, but you know how things are. So now we have a situation where you can't even deny that Trump was a better president. Like, the things that they said about him were based on his rhetoric, which, by the way, he should have been more diplomatic. I understand this. And like, the one criticism, valid criticism, is sometimes he pushed the envelope too much. But sometimes it wasn't even his fault. Like, he never said anybody was fine people. He never called the horrible, terrible people fine people. He never did that. He never did that. Never did that. They fabricated this. They fabricated this. This hysteria around Trump. This absolute hysteria around Trump, based on their sensibilities and actual catastrophes they've swept under the rug. The reason I bring up the Texas law is that, as usual, they're like, gotten themselves into a frenzy of indignation. You can still get the procedure done within 6 weeks. That's even Planned Parenthood says that. So that's pretty much undermines the whole concept of being indignant and apoplectic and morally, pretending to be morally superior about a topic that they're distorting as usual. Simply go look at any account, Twitter profile or YouTube channel of a million sub CNN pundits. They're all CNN pundits, okay, or whatever, left-leaning pundit that always says vote Democrat. They're talking about that. They're talking about Texas and the Supreme Court. They're not talking about Afghanistan. They're not talking about the people left behind. They're not talking about. They're not talking about the people left behind. They're not talking about. They're not talking about the people left behind. They're not talking about a live stream. I'm thinking two things at once. They're not talking about all the problems taking place right now. The eviction crisis. I mean, we have it when it rains, it pours. There are so many problems now. There are so many problems now, and they're not talking about it. Because they can't. Christian O'Brien! You know who? It's Ron Klain. Or Jake Sullivan. The White House Chief of Staff. Oh, notice how, you couldn't live, you couldn't breathe. If you were a White House Chief of Staff, if you were a press secretary, oh my God. Oh my God, it was a big thing. Oh my God, it was never ending. And then what they say is, now we can focus on the news. Nobody asked you to turn 4 years of the American presidency into a reality show. Trump didn't do that. You could have ignored things that he said the way that you ignore our current wonderful dear leader's slurred speech. Should I talk now? Next question. Okay. Come on. Well, okay. They turn his microphone off. Do you understand the disrespect? The blatant disrespect. The blatant disrespect is unbelievable. They mute his microphone. Do you understand? They mute his microphone. Okay. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. If your significant other, if you were at a wedding, and you were holding the microphone, and then you're like, oh, it's now your turn to talk, and your significant other was just waiting right where the microphone, plug was, and you were like, I remember a story about Jim and, Nancy. I shouldn't tell this story, but, it's a good story, and there's a good ending, okay, everybody? This beautiful couple, I can't wait for their kids. And, oh, by the way, so when we were in college, we suddenly... And then, honey, I did that for your own good. It was so embarrassing. You unplugged my microphone in front of 200 people at the wedding. You wouldn't even stand. You wouldn't even accept that in a wedding scenario. You're like talking and then somebody pulls the plug on your mic. Could you imagine how embarrassing that would be? And you have to like walk back and everyone's like, oh my God, his significant other did that. Oh my God. Oh. But with Biden, it's like totally fine. Do you understand? It's totally fine. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care because, like, they're actually totally fine with that. That's how they roll. Don't you understand? Bart Fielder, thank you. Thank you, Bart Fielder. Thank you to my super chat. Thank you. Bart Fielder, thank you so very much. Thank you. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. You know, like Bart and everybody here, like a comedian, like, you know, the jokes aren't working. It's like, is this mic on? Is this mic on? That's like every time Biden's on the mic, he's like, is this mic on? Hey, man. Hey, cornflakes, is this mic on? And it's like, why do you think that we've become, why do you think this has been normalized? That's right. They do pretend to care. That's right. How did this become normalized? You know, you remember that they used the word, it's normal. Trump, they're normalizing Trump. They're normalizing him. They're normalizing him. How did this become normalized? Bart, thank you again. Thank you, Bart. Before Afghan collapse, Biden pressed Ghani to change perception. This is a man who barks at people, insults people, is like propped up by every conceivable media advantage, public relations machine, and still is tanking in the polls. Because, look, there's the reality that media writes about, and then there's reality. There's the reality that media would like to be accurate. Then there's what's actually accurate. Okay? That's why you get these fact-checking organizations. They're nothing more than just the last word in an ongoing discussion or debate. That's it. Like, Twitter is, if heaven forbid, Twitter tomorrow pulled the plug on its entire platform, you wouldn't have the Democratic Party would cease to exist. It would cease to exist. The Republicans would still exist. Trump would still exist because he communicates through his website now. He would still exist, and every news outlet would be like, Trump said this, but AOC couldn't preach. Bernie couldn't preach. Democrats couldn't create and fabricate hysteria over a number of issues. They couldn't distort, which is what they do, laws to make it seem like, oh my God, you're banning this procedure. Like, it's not banned. It's not banned at all. See, they don't mind government becoming a part of, mandating things, taking away certain rights. But when government doesn't work in their favor, oh my God, it's our democracy and constitution. Democracy and constitution and our society and all these lofty ideals have been redefined as whatever suits the morally superior sensibilities of liberal Democrats. That's a Lincoln Project thing, by the way. That's a Lincoln Project thing. That type of Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld type, like, if you have to, our country is tied with our political party. Our country. It's like, well, no, actually, it's the opposite. Our country is the opposite of your political party. Good night, Peter. Good night. I had to translate that, but Peter Kinberger, good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Nicoletta! Nicoletta! Thank you, Nicoletta. Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you. You have amazing emojis. Nicoletta, thank you again. Nicoletta, thank you again. Love the emojis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nicoletta. Thank you so very much as always. As always, thank you. You would think that 130 rescue dogs. I mean, these are people that virtue signal about everything. You would think, and like, you have a world now, and you always have a world where people truly stand by ideals. Like this woman in Afghanistan, she truly is a saint. This woman's a saint. Now, I think she should get out and just focus on her life and try her best to get out. But that's Charlotte Maxwell Jones is a saint who needs to be rescued and evacuated from Afghanistan. Okay, the man who saved Biden's life is a hero. You think that Democrats are focused, or you think the people on social media are focused on their safety? No way. But if you said something wrong, oh my God. Like, if you said something wrong, or if you had like a good rebuttal or comeback on social media, oh my God. There would be more. There's more press on what happens on social media, like vapid back and forth exchanges. Oh, he bodied this person. Oh my God. Oh, the ratio. Oh my God. Eviscerated. Oh my God. Incinerated. Oh my God. Oh, wow. You would like... LCJ. Sean O'Brien. You get more press on public relations, like people's image. I remember I was debating somebody. I won't tell you his name. I think the debate is still out there, but he was a young journalist. And he said something to the effect like, oh, your writing was laughed at by the people that I know. And I was like, well, why would I care? And then I told him what I think of the people that he knows. Why would I care? Why? At least my writing and my thoughts were published. And like, that was part of the debate. And he actually understood my vantage point. Like he was open to that vantage point. But like all throughout 2015 and 2016, I was saying Clinton is going to lose to Trump. That's exactly what happened. And so, but when you're outside of the mainstream a little bit or a lot, you're viewed as a big problem. Whether you're too far left or too far right, you're viewed as a huge problem that needs to be dealt with. J-Spot! Democratic slogan, yeah, and polled higher than so. Exactly. And it's like all they care about is perception. Nicoletta, thank you so very much. Nicoletta, thank you. As always. I don't get how you can blame Americans. Like, it's actually come to a point, ladies and gentlemen, Nicoletta, everybody here, the reality of it could be never Trump Republicans, or it could be it's primarily morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats. Their reality is the last rebuttal, which they've redefined as a fact check. So if they can get the last word in, especially if they can also say the consensus, or we disagree, or we found somebody who disagrees, or an official said that's not the case. So if they can actually say that an official said that's not the case, or the government says that's not the case, well then they've won the argument. Because the government is never wrong. And the officials can't possibly be wrong. And the consensus, that's 100% right. So, and we titled this Fact Check, so obviously we're checking facts. It has nothing to do with an ongoing debate or discussion. And when we say we rate this false, well, we're not actually saying it's false, but we rate it false. We rate it false. So it's like, Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you. Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you. It's like, thank you, Nicoletta, thank you, as always. So kind of you. Thank you. It's like, we live in a world, Nicoletta, everybody here, we live in a world with a one-party system. This is a one-party system. It's because of people like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan and to an extent Lindsey Graham, but mainly Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Richard Burr, the morally superior conservatives who don't like Trump's personality. We don't have two opposing sides. There's a Republican opposition, but only in terms of legislation, which is fine. But even then, it's not always the case, and that's good. We still have that, thank goodness. But there's no opposing ideology. There's no opposing viewpoint. You have Rand Paul, Ron Johnson pretty much on their own. Why doesn't Mitt Romney, where are the Adam Kinzingers in the Democratic Party? There aren't any. Or very few. They're very few, and they're called Russian operatives. So you have pretty much a one-party system in the country. And media has merged with the Democratic Party. It's practically merged with the Democratic Party. And so, things will not change drastically. We're going to have, you have to build up momentum. So, people are talking about, getting Biden to resign. People are talking about impeachment. I'm going to talk about that every day. And I understand we'll have to wait till 2022. Okay, I get that. But you have to build momentum, just like Democrats built momentum. They kept on talking about impeachment. I think it was the first month he was in office. They kept talking about Trump impeachment. And the second he was inaugurated, there was a resistance. And they had protest marches the day he was inaugurated. Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you. So it's you need to build, you need to have some momentum built. You need to have some momentum built. You can't just, say, well, we'll think about that. We'll think about that when we take over the House. No, you know that you're going to take over the House. You know that. I want Biden impeached the same amount of times or more as Trump, because Trump did not have anything to do. he didn't tell people to commit any crimes in January. Okay, the FBI found nothing. Just like no investigation on Trump has found anything where he could be indicted in a court of law. They haven't. They have grand juries. They have this and that. They can't find anything because they're just like with Biden and his policies. They want an outcome, and they're going to search for the if they can possibly find. And if they can't get Trump, they'll get everyone around him because it's retribution. That's what they care about, retribution. They care about retribution in public relations. They don't care about anything else. And it's like, it's just a public relations machine. USA Today, image falsely show military dogs left in Kabul. U.S. military did not leave American dogs in Afghanistan. So what they'll do is they'll say, group that rescued dogs in Afghanistan says CDC policy stopped transport of canines from airport. Well, there you go. Wonderful government keeping us safe again. You know, this reverence, when Trump was running the government, they didn't trust government. Now, when Biden is, oh my God, you must revere. The intelligence community was always right with Trump, but you know what? They were wrong because they didn't tell Biden the truth. Or they did. Oh, who knows? They either move the goalposts or they just completely contradict themselves. It's one or the other. It's always one or the other. It's always one or the other. It's always just they're either moving the goalposts or just contradicting themselves. And so you have to ask yourself, when will this madness stop? It'll stop when you have Republicans investigating this president, because then you get, and then it'll stop when Twitter doesn't serve as like the gatekeeper of all information. There's this absurd notion of misinformation. Okay, Candace Owens wanted to get tested, and the testing site says you've spread misinformation that made this situation worse. You don't have the right to say that. You don't know that. That's your opinion, and it's baseless. And you can look at government officials who've flip-flopped endlessly with that definition of misinformation that made things worse also. It's just like when with the person in the Montana fishing shop, fishing store, fish supply store, outdoor store. Outdoor supply store. You're a horrible human being. Well, why don't you take a trip to the Montana fishermen should maybe watch TV or read a book, okay, and see what the T-Ban is all about. Maybe they're a tiny bit more horrible than Tucker Carlson. And you have this now. You have like Republicans or T-Ban. That's what they're saying. It's like, whoa, no wonder you don't know anything what's going on. You think that Republicans are just like, oh, now we know you're completely ignorant. And you're willing to make the most absurd moral equivalencies because you lack knowledge and you have to make absurd leaps of logic, these ludicrous leaps of logic. We don't like you, so you're just like the T-Ban. That's how they work. That's how they work. It is projection. It is projection. And it's like, I mean, it's... Then you have the eviction moratorium ending. So, like, this is how Democrats... Kathy Hochul signs bill extending eviction moratorium. Okay, good. But they still have the highest, I think the third highest or fourth highest unemployment rate in the country. The highest unemployment rates in the country are in Democratic-run states, like the 10 highest. Let's look at the 10 highest unemployment. So you look. I always do this. New York is the second highest in terms of unemployment in the country. It goes Nevada, 7.7%, New York, 7.6%, New Mexico, California, New Jersey, 7.3 to 7.6%, Hawaii, Connecticut, Illinois, D.C., Pennsylvania, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's always been the 10 highest since like last March. The 10 highest unemployment rates are in Democratic-run states, or including D.C. How on earth is this not, like, where is Bernie Sanders saying, the billionaire class, along with corrupt, inept Democrats who run Nevada, New York, New Mexico, California, New Jersey, Hawaii, Connecticut, Illinois, D.C., and Pennsylvania, they're presiding over the highest unemployment rates. Why are these Democrats presiding over the highest unemployment rates, which adds to wealth inequality? I'll tell you why, because they're corrupt and inept, and they cheated me. You will never hear that. Do you understand? You will never hear that. You can just play that back, because that's something you'll never in a million years hear from Bernie Sanders. I do this, and like people tune out, and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to bed now. But I have to do this because it is just so important. 2024. Wealth inequality, the billionaire class, and we're going to win Iowa. Oh, we lost Iowa. We were winning last I checked about 2 minutes ago. What happened? Oh, well, them's the breaks then, I guess. Oh, yeah. We lost Iowa. That's bizarre. I was winning, but then the same thing happened. We had 20 different heads and tails. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's pretty... Maybe if I walk outside, lightning will strike me, yeah. So I lost Iowa in 2016, and last year, in 2024, yeah. So then 2028 happens. Wealth inequality, the billionaire class, we're going to Iowa, we're going to win. Oh, I lost again. 2028, 2032... 2036, 2040, I lost Iowa every single year. How did that happen? Nicoletta. Thank you, Nicoletta, Trumpy Bear. Nicoletta, so kind of you. So kind of you. Thank you. Thank you, Nicoletta. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you. I appreciate it. We're going to do a little longer. Nicoletta, thank you. Thank you, Nicoletta. Thank you. It never ends. The racket never ends. The highest unemployment, the top 10 highest unemployment rates are in Democratic-run states, and then they say, oh, you see, we extended the eviction moratorium. Okay, but you still have the highest unemployment rates. You keep people in poverty, then you give them crumbs, and then you say, you see how good we are to you? They keep people in poverty, okay? They keep people in poverty, and, like... They don't allow people to work, or Tig, hello. They don't allow people to work, or they they just tank economies. They don't give people the opportunity to work to keep them safe. So they tank all of society. They regurgitate nonsense. Like they conflate things. They equate things that shouldn't be equated because they have to make absurd leaps of logic. So misinformation is leading people to lose their lives. The people susceptible to the misinformation that Democrats call misinformation don't vote Democrat. So it's like you're worried about people who despise you. So you try again. They have a virtual monopoly on political thought and, media, and they still can't get their point across. So it's like, we'll type in Biden. Supreme Court and Joe Manchin tighten Biden's political straitjacket. Well, you might not need just a political one. But both the premise and the promise of Joe Biden's presidency and possible brief Democratic grip on Washington are suddenly on the line as the legacy of past electoral disappointments and harsh realities of power suddenly converge. Their policies aren't even trauma over Texas decisions. Like, what do you don't, it wasn't banned. It wasn't banned. It's interesting too, because you have mandates everywhere. Some people don't like those mandates. It's too bad. It's for the public benefit. So Republicans in Texas say, too bad, for the public benefit. This is a serious issue. If you hear the heart beating, too bad. Oh my God. You don't like that type of mandate, do you? You don't like government telling you what you should do with your body. But everyone has to do something with their body. So, the hypocrisy is unbelievable. If the premise is don't let government tell you, force you what to do something to your body, then it should extend on every issue. But it doesn't, see? It doesn't. You have these people who, are such hypocrites. And when they don't get what they want, it's like, you're harmful. I've heard this before, like your ideas are harmful. This was when I was on the left. Can you imagine, your ideas are harmful. Trump is cruel. What? You have to live in a really pampered, bubble. Pampered, safe, comfortable bubble to think that Democrats are just the purest, most moral political party, and completely ignore what took place in Afghanistan, which was 100% Biden's doing, or I should say the fault of people around him, bumbling Blinken and Klain and all the other people around him. Who are these people, by the way? These are supposed to be the brightest, most polished people. They've presided over the worst foreign policy catastrophe. We could have left in January, and we would have had February, March, April. We had to leave before May 1st. This poll number will send Democrats into a panic. What is it? Independence, right? So what is he saying? And it's interesting, too. These polls are so bad because you don't even have, the hysteria among media. Let's see. Biden's approval is now 43%, 6-point drop, but I don't even believe that. Do you believe that he's 43% approval? You think 43% of Americans like Biden? No. No. They had to, at this point right now, blame Trump for saying both sides, which he didn't say. He didn't say, like, he didn't call anyone, like, horrible people fine people. He condemned them 3 different times. I think even more than that in the transcript and when he was talking. But, like, that was media. See, Trump fell for a trap, but it's a trap that Biden would never have fallen for because Biden is handled, like literally handled by people. They will mute his microphone. They will mute his microphone. His microphone will be muted. His microphone will be muted. Frank, hello. They will mute his microphone. So, like, when they try to get Trump on saying, "Oh yeah, he called them fine people," he's like, "No, he didn't." 82% of Republicans strongly disapprove. Let me see. This is interesting. What percentage of Democrats? Okay, so what percentage? It was only 36% of only 36% of and I don't even believe this. 85% of Democrats approve of Biden. I don't even believe that. I don't believe that at all. And you would think it would be closer to 90 or 95, but like if it was really like, if they were truly, because you had Republican approval of Trump in the 90, 89%, almost always. But again, these polls are like, if you have to look at them and say, oh, well, it's probably worse for the Democrat. Because these polls are skewed, always skewed. And it says 93% of Republicans disapprove, 55%. So that was not accurate in the CNN. I'm looking at the poll right here. I would have to say 85% disapprove of Biden. More than 85%. Shane, hello. You know what? There's no way that his approval is at 43%. I don't see it. I do not see it. I just don't. I don't think that. I don't think that Biden is at 43%. I just do not think that at all. I find that very difficult to believe. This man is completely incompetent. And you look. Private payroll increased by just 374,000 in August, far short of the 600,000 estimate. Wow. Most of the new jobs came from leisure and hospitality. That's interesting. U.S. companies created far fewer jobs than expected in August. And then they say, well, as the health crisis, the health crisis is not the issue. It's the responses. It's the government responses that you can't even. When you live in a society where you cannot even engage in free speech, which is what our society is built on, you're going to have this. So we created fewer jobs, 600,000 fewer jobs. Wow. Below the estimate, I'm sorry, about 230,000 fewer jobs. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Most of the new jobs, leisure and hospitality. That's interesting. Education, health services. Okay, so, oh yeah. So then they say, well, the new variation, we'll just call it that, appears to have dented the job market recovery. No, it's the reaction to it. It's never, look, this has never been about more people lost their lives from cancer and heart disease. This has been about media and politicians taking over or making decisions based on media hysteria. The apparent letdown comes at a pivotal time. The economy is only going to get worse because then you're going to get, like, if they ever pass the completely lame infrastructure bill that is, like they say, shovel ready. Construction is a small part of the U.S. economy. We have hundreds of thousands of people out of work, and you're not going to put like the infrastructure bill is not going to help a single mom with two or three kids, or one kid who's lost her job and who needs to find work. You know, then you're going to have like a million other different variations. So you have a million other different variations of you know what. And it's like we knew about this last year. Like, misinformation is hurting people. It's ruining or it's costing them their lives. It's like, you don't have any evidence of that. Name an example of somebody who listened to misinformation. How many people listened to all the officials who then had to say, oh, we were wrong? You know, it's like they make these hysterical leaps of logic. It's so easy to, and then when, like, if you refute them, oh my God, they get us so upset. They turn into like little character and the little monster character in Lord of the Rings. Precious. When you give them any fact or like if you use basic logic, it's like a huge problem. Oh my God, it's such a huge problem. U.S. companies created far fewer jobs than expected in August. You have the economy with far fewer jobs. You have an eviction crisis looming. Okay? And, like, of course I side with tenants and people. Like, I don't want families out on the street. No way. But at the end of the day, what happens to, like, how are people who own the buildings continuing to, I guess most of the people are paying their rent, but it has to eventually have an impact. There has to be eventually a negative impact on the economy. What we've done is react to a crisis in the most irrational manner. And the logic behind it is just always they move the goalpost further and further and further and further away. And any rational dialogue and discussion about numbers or statistics or data, that's even government data, is completely like you can't even talk about it. You can't talk about it. And then they say, well, misinformation. What they mean is, if you don't listen to us, and then they, oh my God, they gleefully not only revel in a person's loss of life, but they'll, oh, you see, this person didn't listen to us, and he lost his life. Well, everyone else, most of the people listened to you, and they lost their life, so then now what? Now what? How does your logic work for that? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I'm going to head on out. This has been fantastic. It's been a pretty awesome live stream. I'm going to try to do an upload about Biden's eventual resignation. Don't know when, but it's an important topic. Before 12 a.m. Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. God bless to my super chat. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you so very much. Nicoletta, thanks, everybody. I will be back tomorrow evening. I'll try to do a 6:30 p.m. Stream. So be here tomorrow at around 6:30 p.m. Also, Taiwan, you can look that up. Taiwan and China is about to invade Taiwan. If not this year, within the next coming years, but it looks like imminent. And Taiwan seeks to rally support for bid to return to UN. Taiwan says China can paralyze its defenses. So the Atlantic. Beijing's gloating over America's withdrawal from Afghanistan masks a deeper anxiety. Yeah, so if the Atlantic is saying this, we're about to experience a horrendous scenario. God forbid. I don't want that to happen. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'll see Eric and Luke. Thank you so very much, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Check out my upload in about a couple of hours. And people, I always have an upload around 4 a.m. Every day at around 4 a.m. Pacific. And then obviously later like at 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 a.m. But I'll do an upload every day around 4 a.m. So if you're up early, Pacific. So if you're up early, check the channel.